I want to start today by saying that we're here today because the Labor Party has lied. Let's be clear, the Labor Party lied to the electorate. They went to the election with a lie. They are targeting you because they went to the election without a plan for the state's finances. They were dishonest and they made promises to you and the Western Australian public that they never intended to keep. The Premier and the Treasurer knew the state of the finances. They knew the GST was beyond repair. They knew fluctuations in the iron ore sector punched big holes in the state's budget. They knew that the state had dealt with the biggest population increase we'd ever seen, which forced the previous government to build new infrastructure, deliver new services, create more jobs for police and teachers and nurses. And they know, and they knew, that we had to negotiate wages that were comparable to the iron ore sector to retain these essential public servants and services. It was a unique time in our state's history. The Labor Party knew and they understood. They knew and they did not take a plan to deal with debt to the state election. Instead, they crossed their fingers behind their backs and they lied to your face. And more than that, they stood on these steps and they rubbed it in your face. They stood on these steps and said they would never introduce a gold royalty. During the campaign, the Premier said his promises were affordable and achievable. What a lie. They said they'd pay down debt like a household paying off a mortgage, that there'd be no tax increases, no fee rises, no new levies. And in government, the Premier said Ben Wyatt's budget is the best budget in living history. Shame. Shame. The reality is that the Labor's first budget is littered with broken promises, none more so than to the gold sector. They are increasing taxes, they are increasing the gold royalty, they are increasing water and power charges for your households and your businesses that are already under pressure. And you need to ask why. Has the Premier explained to you, has Mr Wyatt explained to you why he said with such conviction in 2014 that if a gold royalty comes in, mines will close and jobs will be lost? What's changed? What's changed, Mr Premier? What's changed, Mr Wyatt? What's changed since the Premier said a royalty increase was a version of the federal mining tax, ripping money out of the mining industry that can least afford it? What's changed since he said it was basically a waste of time to put the gold royalty up because we lose most of it through GST? Absolutely nothing has changed since the Premier and the Treasurer made those statements, except the Labor Party don't need your votes anymore. But they do need to pay for the promises that they made during the election, and that's where you come in. That's where they turn to the gold sector and they say, we've got to make some tough decisions. But they're making tough decisions for no discernible reduction in debt in their budget. The $392 million that they're raising from your industry, putting jobs at risk and future investment, is to pay for their extravagant election promises. And that is why the WA Nationals were the first to oppose this cash grab. We understand your industry, we understand the gold sector, and we understand what makes it tick. The Nationals have not and are not and have never been anti-mining. We understand the difference between the iron ore sector, the gold sector, and what makes you tick. Our team stood shoulder to shoulder with the sector in 2014 when the threat of that gold royalty came up under the Liberal National Government, and we rejected it outright. That position still stands. The Nationals understand what you contribute to our communities and the people that make them tick. And we can never be accused of being budget wreckers because we can put an alternative on the table. And you have to ask the Premier and the Treasurer why they are not going down the path of asking everyone to pay their fair share instead of unfairly targeting you. There is a choice, but they have lied to your face. And unless there's an overnight solution to the GST, which nobody believes will happen, this government must be able to pay for the essential services and infrastructure that we require and for those extravagant election promises. They had no plan. We're very happy for them to use ours. In good conscience, we simply can't say we don't want an increase and not offer an alternative. We know the gold sector can't afford a royalty hike. We know Labor isn't paying down debt. There is so much pain for so little gain. And the Nationals will stand with you on this issue. We were the first to declare our support for you, for your families, for your businesses and the communities that rely on your success. We did it because it's the right thing to do. We did it because we can offer an alternative that does make a difference to the bottom line. Thank you very much to the Chamber for the invitation to speak. We will do everything we can to halt this gold royalty hike.